Hello and welcome. My name is Mark Blatstein, the physician founder of Physician Pre-Sentence Report Service. In case you wish to get in touch, my phone number is 240-888-7778. Let's get started. We're in agreement that once you get an indictment, arrested federally, non-federally, but we're going to be discussing federal indictments, who's going to be the most important person in your world after your lawyer? This is going to be your probation officer. But there are several types of probation officers, and I'm talking about the probation officer that conducts your pre-sentence interview. And these officers are, imagine, just look at it, I guess a satellite view with through their eyes. Every day, they are seeing multiple indicted defendants a day, and then 5 days a week, or maybe six. They're probably at times overworked and underpaid, and this is all they do every day. And so my question is, how can you make yourself stand out to them in a positive way? If all they're doing is crunching numbers, filling out what's called either a pre-sentence report worksheet or an pre-sentence interview worksheet, or basically gathering all the information for the judge, how can you stand out in a more positive way to them? Why would you want to do that? Well, we're going to go through this. You want to consider trying to make their workday easier. So far, they've requested from your attorney a plethora, a lot of documentations from A to Z, from academic diplomas to tax returns. Meaning, I'm not going to go through them now. I have them on my website. But if you're a rocket scientist and you have an academic diploma from a university that says you're a rocket scientist, great. But if you don't have that and you don't even have a high school diploma, they're going to make you take a GED class, even though you're a rocket scientist. You need to have diplomas, certificates. You need to have everything that they requested from A to Z, tax returns for 3 years or 5 years. It depends. I don't know what it's going to be for you. All of this stuff needs to be collected, and it's going to take time. My hope for you is that you have a minimum of 3 months until you have to sit for your pre-sentence interview. These are all the documents that you have to put together that were given that the probation officer needs. But if it's done correctly on your own, if you don't counter the charges on your indictment, your judge is going to be left to sentence you. Just think about it, based on the four corners of the federal indictment or the pre-sentence report. They just won't have another choice. And so on your own, if you don't do anything, then that's it. It's all over. But if you take the time to write your own story, your own narrative, autobiography, something to represent who you are, and what goes into that is a completely different YouTube or video, but it needs to, it's your history. It's your good it's your good, the good, like the Clint Eastwood movies, the good, the bad, and the ugly. It should have everything from your life history that brought you to this point, and it's not an excuse as for what you did, but if somehow you're able to, you want to hire me, wonderful, find someone to be able to develop a compelling story for your life that brought you to the point where you've done what you did. This is important. I had an attorney tell me that he felt that when I worked with this client that we developed a compelling story for him for the judge. So this is important. A release plan. You don't have to do a release plan. It may not be necessary. That we've started. This is August 26th. In June, the new director of the Federal Bureau of Prisons started a First Step Back task force, and in it says that you're not going to need to have a job. You're not going to have this plan. As long as you take all the First Step Back classes, Second Chance Act, and all this is going to be stacked, and that if you're eligible, then you should be able to get early release towards home confinement, skipping halfway house. But guess what? Nobody can promise you or guarantee you anything. And this started in June. We're in August. It's taken since 2018 until we're now in 2025 to get this far. And so, as I'm talking to you today, and this First Step Back task force, I believe, was in June, and we're in August, there are still case managers and wardens around the country who are just ignoring it. For whatever the reasons are, it's not being implemented throughout the Federal Bureau of Prisons. And so anything that you can do to make you stand out is a good thing. More important, Once you've had all of this information put together, a narrative, which by itself should have everything in it that the officer needs to fill out their report, which means that there's your family profile, your background, if there's a medical history, everything, your academics, everything is in there, all of the meat of your life. And it's organized, spell checked. If you have character references letters, letters to your character, that's also included. If you have someone that knows you for a long time and it's a letter of support, letter to your character, and they're willing to offer you a job, if there's a job available when you get out, those are gold letters. All of this is then organized into one spell check and organized file. It's provided to your attorney and you review it together. The goal is to then, once your attorney says it's okay, to get it to your probation officer a week before your interview. Why is that? As we started this video saying that these officers are busy and they just see one defendant's record after another. And it's just one after another over and over. So how are you going to stand out? Well, I don't think everyone's going to be providing all this information that they need organized, spell checked in a file that they're going to be able to, a week before the interview, fill out their pre-sentence interview worksheet, pre-sentence report worksheet ahead of time. And while they're doing that, they may actually be thinking that they appreciate the fact that you've respected their time, that you've provided everything plus everything that they've asked for. And that leaves them the time at the interview to ask any other questions they may have and to get to know who you are personally, which is what you want to have happen. And this is a very big deal because remember, judges depend on this same probation officer for their recommendation regarding your sentence, possibly your placement, and generally your overall character as to who you are as a person. They depend on that because when you get by the time you get into the courtroom, the judge has already looked through the pre-sentence report, talked to the probation officer, and has your sentence in mind. And at that point, because you've taken the time to write your narrative or your story that explains who you are, maybe the judge is going to have that conversation with you, and they could, no guarantees, give you a sentence that's not as bad as what you thought you may have. I hope you found this helpful. Any questions, please do not hesitate to give me a call. You'll see my phone number at the top of the video, and I hope you have a good day. Thank you.